Many of us begin our days not truly waking, but simply re-entering the current of external demands. That insidious buzz from your phone, the relentless scroll of news headlines, the silent accumulation of emails, suddenly, before your feet even touch the floor, you are already behind. You are already reacting, playing defense against a day that hasn't even fully dawned. This isn't just a modern affliction, it's a timeless challenge the ancient Stoics understood deeply. They knew the very first moments of your day are not merely a prelude, but the unyielding foundation upon which your entire experience will be built. To surrender these precious, formative moments is to surrender your inner calm, clarity of purpose, and self-mastery from the outset. It is to cede control over your prohairesis, your faculty of choice, before you've even had a chance to exercise it. Imagine a morning where you are not pulled in 1,000 frantic directions, but instead feel deeply grounded, where external chaos meets an impenetrable internal fortress of tranquility built deliberately by your own rational mind, where you don't merely survive the day anxiously ticking off tasks, but actively and intentionally shape it with purpose, choosing your responses rather than being dictated by them. This isn't a distant fantasy. It is the practical wisdom forged through centuries of contemplation from philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. They taught us that our peace, our euthymia, is not found in controlling external events, which are largely indifferent, but in mastering our internal state and our judgments about those events. And it all begins with a single, profound choice you make each morning. A choice to reclaim your power, to assert your will, to set a firm boundary for your mind before the world even knows you're awake, before its demands can take root and scatter your focus. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus, 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or stop mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. The hidden problem isn't simply that your mornings are chaotic. It's that you've unconsciously signed a contract to be perpetually reactive, without ever truly understanding its burdensome terms. You awaken, and almost immediately, the world outside dictates your inner state. A notification pings, fracturing your nascent attention. A news report flashes, emotions stirred by events beyond your control, events that are, by definition, external and not up to you. A task comes to mind, and anxiety tightens its grip, not because the task itself is inherently threatening, but because you assent to the impression that it demands. Immediate frantic attention. This isn't just about distractions, it's about a fundamental surrender of your agency, your Stoic prohairesis. You are handing over the reins of your peace, focus, and intentionality to external forces, often before your day has truly begun, allowing your hegemonicon, your ruling faculty, to be tossed about like a rudderless ship. The Stoics recognized this subtle yet profoundly corrosive erosion of agency. They understood every external stimulus, every unexamined thought, every unsolicited demand is a potential master if you do not first establish your own sovereignty. Epictetus often warned that if you don't control your impressions, they will control you. We live in a world designed to constantly pull our attention outwards, creating an endless, exhausting loop of stimulus and response. This incessant outward pull relentlessly drains your internal reserves, leaving you depleted, uncentered, and perpetually feeling behind. You become like a frail leaf, tossed about by every passing wind, unable to hold its course, rather than a magnificent tree, rooted firmly and deeply in the earth, unyielding in its stand, drawing strength from within. This constant external focus prevents you from developing the internal stillness and self-awareness necessary to discern true importance from mere urgency. This isn't about blaming the external world, for the external world simply is. It's about recognizing your own often unconscious complicity, the ways in which we unwittingly empower these external forces. We frequently convince ourselves we must attend to every demand instantly, that speed equates to importance, that immediate reaction is diligence. We fear missing out, or appearing unresponsive, or falling behind. But this belief is a dangerous trap, a subtle form of mental slavery. It leads to a life where you are constantly running, always busy, but rarely, if ever, truly arriving at peace or accomplishment, because your efforts are fragmented and externally driven. The true challenge isn't the number of tasks. It is your unexamined habit of allowing them to command your immediate attention, define your emotional landscape, and steal your precious morning calm, preventing you from ever truly choosing your battles. This morning, observe the subtle, almost invisible ways you unconsciously begin to give your power away, moment by moment, by uncritically assenting to every impression that bombards your senses. Recognizing this pattern is the crucial first step towards consciously reclaiming it, towards asserting your deliberate control over your own mind and your own life. The common mistake that keeps countless individuals trapped in morning frustration isn't a lack of effort, but a profound misdirection of it. We are conditioned to believe a productive morning is one filled with immediate, visible action. Meticulously checking emails, rigorously scheduling, diligently clearing notifications, or aggressively tackling urgent tasks. This frantic activity grants a temporary, fleeting sense of accomplishment, a quick dopamine hit falsely confirming we are doing something important. But this, the Stoics would argue, is merely busyness, a superficial veneer of productivity, not true, deep productivity. It represents a fundamental misunderstanding of what genuinely moves us forward, cultivates inner peace, and brings lasting satisfaction. True productivity, for the Stoics, began with governing the self. Seneca, in his letters, warned against this pitfall, cautioning us about lives squandered by not living, but preparing to live. Many mistake the relentless pursuit of immediate tasks for actual, meaningful progress. They confuse the clamor of urgency with the quiet, sustained rhythm of importance. They wake up and, without thought, plunge straight into the swirling stream of external demands, invariably addressing everyone else's priorities, their boss's emails, their social media feed's drama, their neighbors' perceived needs, before their own deepest, most personal values and goals. They might feel intensely productive because they are responding rapidly, but frequently end the day depleted, having made little real headway on what truly matters to them, having failed to live according to their own internal compass. This pervasive habit relentlessly fosters low-level stress and insidious anxiety, not allowing the mind to ever truly relax and consolidate. Your mind remains perpetually in response mode, never truly settling into proactive creation, deep thought, or intentional planning. You become a slave to the clock and to the unexamined expectations of others, sacrificing the precious, quiet space required for profound reflection, strategic planning, and essential self-care, which Stoics would consider duties to oneself. The irony is that by prioritizing immediate, often shallow, externally imposed tasks, you systematically undermine your capacity for the truly important, demanding, and self-directed work that defines a well-lived life, a life of virtue. You might check 100 emails, but you fail to cultivate the mental clarity, the inner stillness, and the focused resolve that would make you truly effective and impactful. This pattern doesn't just exhaust your physical energy. It siphons away your mental and spiritual vitality, leaving you perpetually tired but strangely unfulfilled because you have not genuinely engaged your rational faculty, your hegemonicon, in shaping your day. What if the most productive, most powerful thing you could do each morning was, in a conventional sense, nothing at all? What if true power began in quiet stillness, in the profound act of self-governance? One of the most powerful, yet astonishingly rarely practiced, Stoic habits is premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils, or anticipation of adversity. This isn't some morbid invitation to negativity or a descent into pessimism. It is a profoundly proactive and strategic confrontation of potential obstacles, setbacks, and annoyances before they manifest and catch you off guard, before they have a chance to destabilize your rational judgment. It's a sophisticated mental rehearsal, a psychological inoculation designed to build unwavering resilience and to prevent life's inevitable challenges from hijacking your emotional state, from causing you to mistakenly judge something as bad when it is merely external. Most people operate under a naive assumption. Things will go smoothly, that life owes them an easy path. And when they don't, individuals are caught off guard, reacting with disproportionate frustration, anger, or despair because their expectations were unmet. The Stoics, with their keen understanding of human nature and the unpredictable world, championed a different approach. Epictetus taught that we should expect difficulties, not be surprised by them, and furthermore, we should distinguish between the event itself and our judgment of the event. So, in your morning ritual, instead of passively hoping for an effortlessly good day, you actively, deliberately consider what could reasonably go wrong, particularly what might not be in your control. You might think, my commute could be delayed, forcing me to practice patience. Someone might unjustly criticize my efforts, providing an opportunity for equanimity. I might face an unexpected rejection, demanding fortitude. I might misplace something valuable, challenging my attachment to externals. This isn't pessimism. It is, at its core, profound realism, a clear-eyed assessment of life's contingencies, viewed through the lens of what is genuinely up to you. By mentally walking through these potential adversities, contemplating their possibility, you systematically strip them of their power to shock, surprise, and destabilize you. You effectively preempt the emotional hijack that so often derails our days by mentally preparing for the unexpected. When the actual event occurs, you've already considered it, already thought deeply about how a wise and virtuous Stoic would respond, not with impulsive anger or fear, but with reason and calm. You've mentally prepared yourself to meet it with equanimity, with a steady hand rather than with panic. This practice doesn't eliminate problems, but fundamentally transforms your relationship with them. You build an inner reservoir of mental resilience, turning crises into mere inconveniences or opportunities for virtuous practice rather than catastrophes. This shifts your perspective from being a passive victim of fate to an actively prepared agent, ready to respond with virtue and rationality, no matter what the day brings, because you've understood that while you cannot control events, you can always control your judgment and response. It liberates you from the anxiety of the unknown by making the unknown, in its broad strokes, known to your calm, prepared mind. This mental foresight is a superpower. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier, plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today. The profound psychological mechanism underpinning the power of a meticulously designed Stoic morning lies primarily in what cognitive psychologists refer to as the primacy effect, intricately coupled with mental momentum. Just as the first impression colors our subsequent perception of a person or event, the initial thoughts and actions of your day exert immense, lasting influence, shaping your mood, focus, energy, and resilience for hours to come. Your mind, much like a physical object in motion, irresistibly gains momentum from its initial push, whether that push is deliberate and controlled or accidental and chaotic. If you begin your day reactive, scattered, and anxious, allowing external stimuli to immediately dictate your internal state, you are setting a low-frequency, chaotic tone for everything that follows. This initial state establishes a cognitive filter. Your brain then spends the remainder of the day trying to process information through that initial, suboptimal filter, making it harder to shift into a desired state of calm, clarity, or focused productivity. This early mental state doesn't simply fade. It compounds and amplifies, creating a cascading effect. Negative momentum builds, and you find yourself easily irritated, disproportionately distracted by minor events, and quickly overwhelmed by even minor challenges, feeling like you're fighting an uphill battle against your own mind's default settings. Your ruling faculty, your hegemonicon, is immediately compromised. Conversely, a morning meticulously rooted in mindful reflection, deliberate intention, and premeditatio malorum establishes a high-frequency, robust, and exceptionally resilient mental state. You're not merely engaging in wishful thinking. You are actively constructing a powerful psychological framework, a kind of internal operating system update. This framework acts as an unshakable buffer against external stressors. When challenges arise, your pre-established mental momentum, built consciously on calmness, preparedness, and virtue, allows you to navigate them with greater ease and far less emotional cost. You've intentionally set your mental thermostat for the day, choosing not merely reaction but deliberate, reasoned, virtuous response because you have fortified your internal resources from the very first moments. The first hour of your day doesn't just pass. It lays down the crucial neural pathways and deep emotional patterns that will profoundly define the subsequent 12 to 16 hours of your waking life. Understanding this fundamental mechanism transforms the intentional design of your morning not just into a good idea, but an absolutely critical imperative for true self-mastery, for living a life of purpose, tranquility, and inner freedom, irrespective of external circumstances. To truly grasp the transformative power of a Stoic morning, consider the illuminating example of Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most revered Stoic emperor, whose personal reflections became the timeless work, Meditations. Each morning, amidst the monumental pressures of ruling the vast Roman Empire, besieged by barbarian invasions, political intrigues, personal betrayals, and devastating plagues, Marcus did not immediately dive into decrees or battlefield reports. Instead, he consistently withdrew into himself. He did not engage with the clamor or gossip of the court. He engaged, first and foremost, with his own ruling faculty, with himself. His mornings were meticulously dedicated to a profound internal dialogue. He would reflect deeply on life's transient nature, the inevitability of death, memento mori, and the cardinal virtues he needed to embody that day: justice in his rulings, temperance in his desires, courage in facing threats, and wisdom in his judgments. He painstakingly reminded himself that people he would encounter, advisors, generals, citizens, enemies, might be ungrateful, aggressive, or misguided, not out of malice but often ignorance or weakness. This was his sophisticated personal version of premeditatio malorum, undertaken not to become cynical, but specifically to prepare his mind, heart, and spirit to react with profound empathy, unwavering patience, and unyielding resilience, rather than with frustration or impulsive anger. He would ask himself, is this truly bad, or is it merely an external event upon which I am projecting a judgment? Marcus understood with clarity that his paramount duty was not merely to govern the external empire, a realm largely outside his ultimate control, but, far more importantly, to govern his own inner empire, his thoughts, emotions, reactions, and choices, which were entirely up to him. His morning ritual was never a luxury. It was an absolute necessity, the essential training for a mind under immense pressure. It was in those quiet moments that he systematically fortified his inner citadel, ensuring the relentless external storms would not shake his core principles or his inner peace. He famously wrote about waking up and having to remind himself of his higher purpose, that he was put on earth to do the essential work of a human being, to serve humanity, to reason, to act virtuously, not to simply pull up the covers and stay warm, indulging in comfort. This intentional, disciplined practice transformed a man burdened by immense responsibility into an enduring beacon of wisdom and steadfastness. It wasn't about the quantity of time, but the unparalleled quality of the internal work done before the relentless demands of the day began to mount. He wasn't just doing philosophy, he was profoundly living it, starting with his very first conscious moments each day, ensuring his internal world remained sovereign. Now, having explored the profound principles and historical examples, let's move to an immediate and intensely practical application you can integrate into your own morning starting tomorrow. We call this transformative practice, the Stoic morning check-in. This is not a lengthy meditation or an arduous journaling session. Instead, it is designed as a focused, deeply conscious moment, ideally undertaken before you engage with any digital device or external demands. This pristine window of time is sacred. Guard it fiercely. Step 1. Acknowledge and reclaim control. As soon as you fully awaken, perhaps even before you get out of bed, take a deep, grounding breath. Then, clearly articulate to yourself, aloud or in your mind, "Today, I will steadfastly focus only on what is unequivocally within my control. My actions, my deliberate reactions, my considered judgments, my intentions, my character. All else, external events, other people's opinions, outcomes, is indifferent to my core well-being, and therefore I will not allow it to disturb my inner peace." This potent statement immediately and powerfully shifts your focus from the external world to your undeniable internal sphere of power and agency. It is a declaration of sovereignty over your own mind, echoing Epictetus's fundamental teaching that true freedom lies in distinguishing what is yours from what is not. Step 2. Premeditate with purpose and preparedness. Swiftly and calmly consider 1 or 2 specific, realistic challenges you might genuinely face today. Do not dwell on them, simply acknowledge their possibility with detached awareness, like a scientist observing a phenomenon. For instance, there might be unexpected traffic on my commute, or I might receive a challenging email at work that tests my composure, or I might feel a strong temptation to procrastinate on an important task, leading to self-reproach. For each potential challenge, immediately follow it with a clear, intentional declaration of how you will respond virtuously. And I will meet this specific situation with, choose a specific Stoic virtue: patience, courage, wisdom, justice, self-discipline, equanimity. For traffic, I will practice patience and use the time for internal reflection. For the email, I will respond with calm reason and justice. For procrastination, I will exercise self-discipline and tackle the task without delay. This is your practical, actionable premeditatio malorum, arming you with a specific, virtuous, and premeditated response, rather than leaving you vulnerable to impulsive, unexamined reaction. Step 3. Set a singular intention for virtue. Finally, select one specific Stoic virtue you intend to actively practice, consciously embody, or pay particular attention to throughout your entire day. This should be a virtue you feel called to strengthen, perhaps one you struggled with recently. For example, today I will conscientiously practice patience in all my interactions, especially with difficult people. Or today I will demonstrate courage by tackling that difficult conversation I've been avoiding. Or today I will apply wisdom to every significant decision, seeking clarity before action. This singular, focused intention provides an unwavering guiding star, a clear philosophical compass for your entire day, directing your choices and shaping your character, ensuring that even in chaos, you have an internal point of reference for right action. This powerful 3-step check-in, taking perhaps no more than 5 deliberate minutes, fundamentally alters the trajectory of your morning, transforming it from passive reaction to profound, purposeful intention. Make this a non-negotiable ritual. Try it consistently for a week. Observe how profoundly it anchors you, empowers you, and dramatically enhances your capacity for inner calm and effective action, as your mind becomes a disciplined instrument rather than a playground for external forces. By consistently applying these profound Stoic principles and integrating them into the very fabric of your morning, you begin to undergo a deep, undeniable identity transformation. You cease to be merely a reactor to life's incessant stream of circumstances, no longer a passive bystander tossed about by every external wind. Instead, you consciously evolve into an architect of your day, a master sculptor of your own inner world, wielding the tools of reason and virtue. This isn't about foolishly attempting to control the external world, an impossible feat, for many things are not up to us, but about assertively and virtuously controlling your precise response to it, which is entirely within your domain. The daily, unwavering practice of reclaiming your mornings from external demands, acknowledging what is truly within your power, proactively confronting potential difficulties with foresight, and setting clear, deliberate intentions for virtuous conduct, profoundly reshapes your very being. You develop an inner resilience so robust, so deeply rooted in the bedrock of reason, that it cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity, for you understand these are merely external impressions you do not need to assent to. Your confidence, once perhaps fragile and dependent on external validation, becomes unshakable, deriving its strength from your unwavering commitment to your own principles and your pursuit of virtue, regardless of outcomes. You cultivate a silent, potent power, an unperturbed calm that commands genuine respect without needing to raise your voice, because it emanates from a deep sense of self-mastery. This journey is not about achieving perfection in a single leap, for Stoicism is a lifelong practice, a constant striving. It is instead about the consistent, conscious pursuit of progress, one intentional morning at a time. Each morning becomes a sacred training ground, a proving ground for your philosophy, a crucible for your character, where you apply theory to lived experience. You learn to embrace the discomforts of facing reality head-on, because you understand it is precisely this confrontation that forges authentic mental strength and clarity. You comprehend that true, unadulterated freedom stems not from having everything go your way, but from your unwavering ability to remain virtuous, rational, and profoundly calm, no matter what happens, because your happiness is self-generated and independent of externals. You transition from someone who merely hopes for a good day to someone who deliberately and skillfully creates the internal conditions for a good day, a day of purpose and peace, entirely within themselves. You are no longer merely living. You are mastering the profound art of living, unlocked and honed one intentional morning at a time. What specific Stoic virtue will you consciously choose to embody and practice, starting with your morning tomorrow? Share your chosen virtue in the comments below. Let us know how this practice helps you shift your day from reaction to intention. Don't forget to like this video if you found profound value in these insights, and subscribe to the channel for more guidance on mastering your inner world and cultivating enduring wisdom. Most people spend their lives reacting. Few learn the power of remaining calm, silent, and in control. If something in today's message resonated deeply with you, it's because a stronger version of yourself is trying to emerge. Thousands have already discovered the principles inside the silent power, and many say they wish they had learned them years earlier. Plus 5 exclusive bonuses. The silent power reveals timeless Stoic lessons for mastering emotions, building unshakable confidence, commanding respect without speaking, and developing the mental strength that cannot be broken by criticism, rejection, or adversity. The question is simple: will you continue reacting to life, or start mastering it? Get instant access through the first pinned comment and begin your journey toward true self-mastery today.